So today is the second training session that we have created by Softech to support the National Training Week 2023 by HRD Corp. Last week we did a session where we focused on top management, and today we will look into more into SMEs. We have uploaded a recorded version of last week's session on our YouTube page, so you can always check that out, the recording of last week's session. Okay, today's topic and session is brought to you by Softech 360. We are a digital solutions provider for organizations seeking to adopt sustainable business practices for their business transformation. So these are the topics that we will be going through today. Sustainability and ESG for SMEs. So first we'll go through sustainability, SDG and ESG and what those mean, the importance and benefits of them for SMEs, the ESG frameworks and materiality, the ESG reporting, setting ESG targets and metrics, leadership commitment to ESG, engaging stakeholders, strategy to implement ESG in your organization, and overcoming challenges that you may face trying to do that. So usually these topics will take at least a day to cover in a physical class with a smaller class size as we go deep more on a workshop basis for these topics. But in this webinar session, we will go through these topics on a surface level, but I will try my best to be very thorough. At any time during the session, if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat box. I will try to see if I can see it during the session, or I will go through it in the Q&A at the end. Also, we will provide you with an e-attendance cert. After the Q&A, there will be a QR code for you to scan. So the QR code will take you to an online feedback form. To get an e-attendance for the cert, you need to join the session as well as complete the feedback form. This webinar session may only take about 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes, give or take, depending on how fast we go through the slides. Okay, the first part of the session is to cover the basics first: sustainability, SDG, and ESG. I like to start off with the definition of sustainability. The United Nations Brundtland Commission defines sustainability as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It's about finding a balance between economic growth, environmental protection, and social responsibility. Before we go further, these three words, SDG, sustainability, and ESG, they are used so frequently that it might seem the same, but they are not. The SDGs, which is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, are sustainable goals adopted and supported by many countries, including Malaysia. ESG is short for environmental, social, and governance. It's a framework used to assess and measure a company's sustainability and societal impact. So ESG provides a comprehensive approach to evaluate non-financial performance. So, but we will go through the ESG framework in more detail in a later slide. So this is the 17 SDGs by United Nations. It was created to unify the world in taking immediate and effective action to end poverty, to protect the planet, and to ensure by 2030, all people, everybody enjoy peace and prosperity. The goals are designed to be integrated with the understanding that efforts in one area could affect outcomes in another. For example, SDG 1, no poverty, and SDG 2, zero hunger, may interrelate and have impact on each other. SDG 6, clean water and sanitation, may also have an impact on SDG 14, life below water. life below water. The SDGs are mostly goals for aspirational, a goal that an organization can aspire to achieve. It does not necessarily show how well an organization is managing its ESG impacts. ESG and sustainability. ESG and sustainability are starting to be used interchangeably. Sometimes this is okay, sometimes it can cause confusion. So since the E in ESG stands for environmental, it's common to think sustainability is just the one pillar of the ESG overall. Sometimes this is true, but there are differences between ESG and sustainability. ESG looks at how the world impacts an organization or a company outside in, whereas sustainability focuses on how a company impacts the world inside out. So overall, companies should strive to minimize negative impact, and of course, is expected to maximize their positive impact. So ESG is a corporate governance and investment framework. So it's usually used to measure and report the ESG aspects of your business alongside your financial information. So I have a question from Ms. Jaya. Does ESG is part of SDG? ESG, I will get to that in another slide in a minute, yeah? So this is the breakdown of ESG factors. There are the environmental component of ESG, focusing on your company's impact on natural environment. It includes also issues such as climate change, greenhouse gas emissions, energy consumption, waste management, water usage, pollution. So these factors assess how well a company manages its environmental risk, and how you adopt your sustainable practices, and how you contribute back to the environment. The social component of ESG assess a company's impact on people, communities, and society at large. It encompasses many factors, including labor practices, human rights, diversity and inclusion, your employee well-being, your community engagement, also on your product safety on the people, as well as supply chain ethics. So these social factors evaluate a company's commitment. It evaluates your company's commitment to responsible business practices and contributes to the social development and welfare of the world. The governance pillar, the component of this ESG, focuses on your company's internal structures, the policies you have, the processes that you have in place to make sure there's transparency, there's accountability, and ethical behavior. So this also includes things such as board diversity, executive compensation, your shareholder rights, any anti-corruption measures, risk management, and compliance with regulations. So these factors assess your company's commitment to strong governance, strong governance practices, and your ability to manage your risk and to create long-term value. So if you consider all of these three ESG factors together, you can gain a comprehensive view of a company's sustainability performance. So back to the question by Ms. Jaya just now, does ESG is part of SDG? Yes, I would say it interlinks. ESG and SDG, this slide shows how the ESG and SDG align. I will zoom in a bit. Okay, so for example, the middle part is the ESG elements, environment, social governance. And the outside part is where the SDGs aligns with the ESG. For example, in environment, it aligns with these SDGs by the UN SDGs, number 7, number 12, SDG 13, SDG 15, whereas social it covers and aligns with SDG 3, SDG 4, and so forth. And as for the governance, also aligns with the SDGs here to strengthen corporate governance by increasing operational transparency. So these two SDGs actually aligns with the ESG. So overall, implementing ESG in your company will ultimately support the SDGs as well. So it doesn't matter which ESG standard or framework you adopt for your ESG reporting, you can always map it back to the SDGs. Ms. Savina asks, is CSR related to ESG? They have somewhat similar goals. Correct. CSR will come in part in your social activities. So it would, yes, relate to your ESG. So in ESG is where you would measure your CSR impact on the stakeholder that you have made the event for. So yes, correct. It is related. Next, we'll look into the importance of sustainability and ESG for SMEs. So as the backbone of the Malaysian economy, of course, SMEs play a vital role in this topic. Since the focus on sustainability and ESG has become so important, this has prompted that Malaysian government take more initiative to create awareness for SMEs to take action and strive for a more sustainable business activities for the future. Some of the importance includes measuring the impact of SMEs on the environment, ensuring sustainable practices is embraced to reduce carbon footprint, meeting environmental regulations and overall reduce costs through efficient resource utilization. Also, what we want is to have companies engaging in ethical practices and fostering positive relationship with your stakeholders, enhancing employee well-being and promote diversity and inclusion, contributing to local communities and addressing social issues. Overall, it's also important for the SMEs to adopt strong governance structures and transparent reporting, also mitigating risks and building trust with investors and customers, and complying with legal requirements and international standards. Yes, Ms. Nubaiti, I will share the slides at the end of the session. Next, we have benefits of embracing sustainability and ESG. First, you would have competitive advantage. You'll be able to meet the market demand for sustainable products and services. You'll be able to attract environmentally conscious customers and investors. You can differentiate yourself from your competitors and enhance your brand reputation. Second, the cost savings and efficiency of your company. Through implementing energy saving measures and reducing waste, you will be able to have some cost savings. And efficiency for your company will be due to the fact that you'll be able to optimize your resource utilization and also improving productivity and profitability through sustainable practices. Third, access to funding and investment opportunities. This could also increase your access to green financing and government grants, and also attract socially responsible investors and venture capitalists. This is for if you have new projects or new products, and also unlock new market opportunities and expand business horizons. All right, now let's look into ESG frameworks and ESG materiality. So I wanted to share this overview of the ESG ecosystem. So back when I started in the sustainability line, I remember how confusing all of this can get. So this slide shows how well all the elements of the ecosystem correlates to each other. Overall, these are the ESG stakeholders and their role in promoting sustainable business practices. So ESG stakeholders are individuals or groups, or organizations that have a vested interest in your company's environmental, social, and governance performance, your ESG. So who are they? So first off, we have the framework developers, such as the TCFD, the UN Global Compact. We have the standard setters, just like the GRI, the SASB, and then we have the assurers, like PwC, and then we have your internal stakeholders, your shareholders, your employees. And then we have coalitions and initiatives. I would assume this will also include other NGOs who are pushing ESG for SMEs as well, investors such as banks, regulators such as the Securities Commission for listed companies. Also, for example, organizations like SME Corp, suppliers, your suppliers, external stakeholders like your customers or your clients, the community itself and how you impact them. So overall, this is overview of who is the stakeholders of the ESG ecosystem. So this slide shows the ESG standards and the ESG framework and the rankers and raters. So the ESG standards are agreed upon quality requirements, and usually these are the people who are involved in this ESG standards, the GRI, the ISSB, whereas the ESG framework are a set of principles or guidelines that shape how organizations think about and apply ESG. So these are some requirements, and these are just a framework on how you should think about sustainability. Just for example, by the UN SDGs, TCFDs. So both the purpose of these are to standardize ESG reporting, to enhance transparency, to enable comparability, and also to drive sustainable performance. Below here, the ESG raters and rankers. These entities they give quantitative scores. They give quantitative scores to organizations based on their methodologies, and usually their methodology are proprietary, but you will get a ranking to show how well you are doing in your ESG metrics. Now we go into ESG materiality. Materiality is the principle of identifying and assessing a wide range of sustainability matters or issues and refining them to what is the most important to your company and stakeholders. So the sustainability matters refer to risks and opportunities arising from your impacts, the impacts of your company's operation and activities. So the objective is for the internal stakeholder to develop better informed business strategies as well as risk management. For external stakeholders to better understand your operating context of the company and why certain sustainability matters are prioritized. This is the materiality assessment process by Bursa Malaysia. This is how they do it. They will first you would have to go through phase 1, which is identifying your sustainability matter. Phase 2, prioritizing which materials sustainability matters for your company. Phase 3, review and validation of process and outcome. So if you go to Bursa Malaysia website, Bursa Sustain, they actually have a lot of information and guideline on how you can actually implement ESG in your company. Of course, the Bursa Malaysia mostly they provide information for the MNCs and also the Bursa listed companies. But as SMEs, we can use it as a guideline. It might not be too extensive as per the Bursa guideline, but it can be used as a reference. These are the methods to determine the organization's ESG materiality. You can do a survey or questionnaire. You can do an interview of your stakeholders. You can use some document analysis. to see what are the sustainability matters that is important to your organization. You can actually conduct a focus group as well. And through all of this, you will need to eventually do a materiality matrix to determine which sustainability issue or matter is most important to your company to focus on. So this is the ESG materiality key concept. It involves identifying and prioritizing the ESG issues, okay, that is most significant to your company. So if you see the graph on this side, on the right side, this is the materiality matrix. So after you determine what is the issues or materiality based on your stakeholder feedback, this matrix will show how important the elements are to your organization overall. So the x-axis show the importance of the materiality to the internal stakeholder from lower to higher. Just zoom in a bit. Okay. So it will show the importance of these material to your internal stakeholders from lower to higher. The y-axis shows the importance of the materiality to your external stakeholders from lower to higher. So overall, when you plot them in, this will allow you to see which materiality is most important to focus on and has more impact. So this example shows the top 4 ESG materiality that is significant for this company. So you would know where to focus on in terms of your sustainability issues. Okay, there is a question from Ms. Siti. How do you determine what's material towards internal and external stakeholders? Good question. I'll just go back a few slides. So this is how you determine it. You do a survey, a questionnaire with your internal and external stakeholders. Maybe conduct an interview, maybe do some document analysis of your past and previous activities, or you can actually do a focus group. So basically, it's more of finding out from other people, especially your internal and external stakeholders, what is actually most important to them when it comes to your organization's impact to ESG. Now we look into ESG reporting. So ESG reporting is disclosing factual and relevant data and information on commitments, initiatives, policies, and progress aligned with ESG risk and how the risk is managed. So the ESG reporting is crucial for your company's sustainability journey. You need to make sure it's transparently disclosing the ESG information to your stakeholders and provide the insights into the company's ESG performance and progress. So that's the next part is data collection. You will need to collect the data on the sustainability issues that are most material to your organization. So each organization will have different ESG materials, thus requiring different collection of data. For example, a company who is maybe providing a service such as training, their ESG data will be quite different from somebody, say they are a manufacturing of, I would say, a computer product. So different companies will require different data based on the materiality matters, their ESG materiality issues. So for example, for governance, example of a data for governance is, for example, non-compliance issues or board of directors gender breakdown, policies that a company has in regards to governance, such as anti-corruption, anti-competitive behavior, and other public policies that they may have. What about social data? Social data could be something about, if in regards to OSH, maybe injury days, and for employees, maybe about training days, total number of hires, what else? Anything in regards to your employment labor laws, any policies that's in regards to employment and safety. So these are the data that you might need to collect. What about environment? So environment would encompass data such as the calculated amount of GHG emission, your total electricity consumed, the waste data of your company, such as maybe total waste to landfill or total waste to recycling, any energy and waste policies that you might already have, and other relevant data based on your business activities. So how determining the ESG materiality is, first of all, you need to find out who are your stakeholders. So that's where you might need to look back, who are your stakeholders for your company, in order for you to know who do you need to talk to in order to find out what is your ESG materiality and sustainability issues. So after collecting all the data that is relevant to your organization's ESG material, so you need to decide which standard or frameworks to use. So I share here 4 main ones, and this list is not exhaustive. There are many others. It comes down to who needs to see this report and which report do they need, your stakeholders. So I share here 4 standards and frameworks by SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board. It's industry-specific sustainability accounting standards. GRI, the Global Reporting Initiative. The GRI framework helps companies report on their ESG impacts. TCFD, Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, aims to improve the transparency of climate-related financial risks and opportunities. And the UN 17 SDGs, 70 goals adopted by UN nation aim to address some of the world's most pressing ESG challenges, such as poverty, hunger, inequality, climate change, and environmental degradation. Overall, if your company is not sure which one to use, I suggest to use the GRI standards, as they are the most widely used internationally. So this is a summary of the ESG reporting steps just now. So we start off with review the materiality assessment. After that, you identify the relevant ESG frameworks, and then you review the topics covered by the framework and in relation to your materiality assessment, and prioritize the ESG topics that you're going to cover, map the ESG topics, and then develop a reporting strategy. Next, we look into ESG target and matrix. So after just now, you have identified your material ESG factors. Next, you should set measurable targets, and then select performance matrix, and then establish a baseline and track your progress. So in the previous section, we already know how to find our ESG material, which reporting framework to use, and the data we need to collect. Now it's time to set the measurable targets. So these targets should be specific, achievable, and aligned with your company's long-term sustainability goals. For example, if your company wants to reduce its carbon emission, a target to be achieved, for example, like a 20% reduction by 2025, something like that. And so for the next one is selecting a performance matrix. So this step involves choosing indicators that will track your progress toward the set targets. So matrix could include energy consumption, employee turnover rates, diversity ratio, what else? It's essential to select matrix that align with your company's ESG objectives. The next one is establish baseline. So of course, we have to start from somewhere. So by establishing your baseline, you can measure your progress made over time and determine if you're on track to achieve your targets. So regular tracking and reporting will help identify areas that require improvement and enable effective decision making. So I'm going to share in the next slide an example of an ESG report by a company where they cover all four of this, how to say, topics in their report. Here is an example of a company that has produced an ESG report based on their materiality and aligning it to their SDG goals. Okay, so they have used the standard, the framework, UN SDGs as their reporting framework. So first, they have identified the material ESG factor, which is the circularity of glass packaging. So, okay. So this is they identify the material ESG. And then they set measurable targets. Okay. And then they have set measurable targets, which is their goals, enable the increase color collection by 7 points, increase the rate of use of a standard color by 10 points. And then they have put in their performance matrix, the indicators, percentage of domestic use, rate of external color usage, test a pilot. And then here is where they made a baseline. So they started in 2019. This is the figure then. They even have a figure which there is no data, but they have a 2025 target that they want to achieve. So Ms. Savina, how to establish a baseline if a company is just initiating an ESG project? So I think this answers quite well here. Let's say, for example, it's the year 2023. You do not have yet a data, but you sort of have a target, for example, yeah? So I can say, for example, maybe I want to say 50-50 employee gender diversity. So maybe it's something like that. Then you have a 2025 target, for example, to have 50-50 diversity in there. So as of now, maybe you're already starting with a certain number. So then you can see how far you're getting to your target. Next, I share an example of another company. Their ESG report as per their at their website. Okay, this ESG report that they have for the public is they have it in two portions. I think one is more general, and one where they have the specific data in relation to that issue. So here they have also mapped it as per the UN SDGs as their framework. They have identified what is their goals here, and then what is the initiatives that they have done. So I'm guessing their performance matrix, as in the data in itself, and also their progress would be in another report, which they also share on their website. So this is just an example of the companies that are already doing ESG reporting and how we can use them as reference to make our own. Next, we look into how a company's leadership commitment to ESG can support its sustainability and ESG journey. So I do believe top management is an important role in driving ESG initiatives because their commitment is vital to drive ESG integration and to create a sustainability-driven culture in the organization. So the leaders will need to actively champion the sustainability issues, influence the employees and stakeholders and the broader industry, enable the company to become a true leader in ESG performance and sustainability. So some of the things that either leadership or top manager or the business owners need to take charge in is, for example, setting the vision and strategy, leading by example, what else? Allocating resources, adequate funding for staffing, for infrastructure to successfully integrate sustainability into your operations, create accountability, especially in regards to whose role is it and who's responsible in regards to the sustainability matters, setting the performance target and holding individuals accountable, engaging stakeholders, including customers and investors, and of course, in focusing on the long-term success for the sustainability and the resilience of the company in regards to sustainability. So I think Miss Siti just now, she asked how, in regards to the stakeholders, how to conduct the assessments. So I have this topic here that I share here. Who are the stakeholders and how to engage them? So I wanted to add, I added this slide in to show how important it is to engage your stakeholders in the beginning in order for you to implement your ESG strategy. So who are the stakeholders? It's essentially an individual or a group that has an effect or is affected by the company, by your company and its activities. So what is a stakeholder engagement is to the process used by a company to engage relevant stakeholders for a purpose to achieve agreed outcomes. So your internal stakeholders could be your board members, your employees, your external stakeholders could be your suppliers, your customers, regulators, the NGOs, or other people who have expectations or concerns towards your company. So as mentioned just now, the stakeholders, shareholders, employees, customers, suppliers and vendors, your local communities and community organizations, regulators and government agencies, the NGOs and advocacy groups, industry associations and trade unions, investors and financial institutions, academic and research institutions, if it's relevant to you, the media and the general public, also future generations or the environment. So how to engage them and to identify them? So determine their interests and concern. For example, maybe your customer, they have certain concerns that they might have versus your internal stakeholders like your employees. They have a different concern. Develop a stakeholder engagement plan. Some people have like a what do you say, a talk or a session or how to say, a survey done as part of their engagement process. Next, you would want to communicate your sustainability goals and how does that, how do they feel that it impacts them and do they support it? And then you listen and respond to the feedback, as well as engage in dialogue and collaboration. So would you need to, like Ms. Siti just said just now, would you need to conduct assessment towards 2 different batches? Well, it depends on who your stakeholders are. So if your stakeholders are 2 different identity, how to say, 2 different groups of people, and you feel that each group have their own sustainability method or issues that they are concerned with in regards to organization's activities, then I guess you will need 2 different assessments. But if you can do it in one, I'm sure you can do that also if the 2 groups can have a common ground. So what if your company is ready to begin this journey? Your next question will be how to start. So here I've listed down how to develop an effective ESG strategy. So let's explore the key steps involved in this process. So first and foremost, we need to know where we are at now. So you can start with assessing your current state, followed by identifying material ESG issues, set goals, develop the plan, engage your stakeholders, and embed ESG into the culture, monitor and measure progress, and review and improve. So as we go into assess current state, so doing an assessment allows you to identify the gap conduct a comprehensive assessment of your company's current ESG performance and practices, evaluate your environmental impacts, social initiatives, and government structures. This assessment will help identify areas of strength and areas that require improvement. So last week I wasn't able to share, but this week I put it in, especially for the SMEs. So I don't know if everyone knows, but SME Corp actually has a self-assessment tool for SMEs for ESG assessment. So this guide helps you to identify gaps in your management system. I've tried it before, and it's a good start for any company to use. There are about 45 questions based on the 12 ESG indicators identified by SME Corp. So you just answer yes or no for each question. This is the 12 ESG indicators identified by SME Corp for the assessment. The indicators, they selected it based on the applicability to everyday operations of SMEs across all sectors and industries. So they've kind of like summarized, these are the top 12 that you can start off with for your ESG. So they are, let's see, under environmental, waste management, water management, energy management and climate change. Under social, your CSR, employee benefits, safety and health, labor practices and standards. Under governance, disclosure and transparency and data protection, decision-making and strategic oversight, risk governance and internal controls, integrity, anti-corruption, culture and commitments. Here, I just wanted to compare the 12 ESG indicators with the more extensive table of the ESG materials that I shared previously. So I believe these 12 ESG indicators is a good base to start with. It's a good starting point for your company to self-assess and build your ESG strategy. So after, like I mentioned just now, 45 questions, you just answer yes or no. After you have completed all the 45 questions, you will get a score. So based on the score, you will be categorized into 5 levels. Have not started, 0%, basic, 1 to 30% is the score, developing, intermediate, and advanced. So this just based on the 12 ESG indicators. Doesn't mean that you can just stop at the 12. Means overall, you would know where you are starting. Are you already starting at a good level, or you need to have a lot more put into your operations to start having a good score initially. So I share with you here the link to the assessment. I think somebody already asked, how can we assess the self-assessment tool? So yes, in the website, they don't have it. Somehow I do have the link to the assessment, okay? But just to take note, this assessment is just an indication of your ESG practices and level of a firm. It is not an endorsement from SME Corp, okay? It's just how you want to self-assess. So let me just, maybe I can share the link. I think I can share it later when you guys are going to get the slides, yeah? So you can copy and paste this link and you can get it. Go to the page and do a quick assessment there. Chat box. Change the thing. So I think you can get it later when I share the slides with you here. But yeah, it's, if you scan the code, you can go directly to the page. If you need a link, then we can share it. Okay, so yeah, as mentioned, I got that from the SME Corp website. So since SME Corp is the leading body to support SMEs, so they have planned to create an ecosystem for SMEs in this sustainability journey using their program called PKS Lestari. So the PKS Lestari encompasses awareness and education, SME ESG assessment, policy support, policy and support, market access, standards and compliance, financing and incentive. So as far as I know, they have started on number 1 and number 2. I believe they are now into the policy support. So let's all look out for updates on that within the year. Next, as part of the strategy to implement ESG is to identify your material ESG issues, which we've looked at before. So the materiality assessment involves understanding the issues that have the greatest impact on your business, your stakeholders, and long-term sustainability. So consider the interests and expectations of various stakeholders, internal or external, including customers, employees, investors, and the local community. Yes, okay, thank you, Mr. Saif. Mr. Saif has shared in the chat box just some of the services that Softtech 360 has that can help you in assessing and also assessing funds as well. So next, number 3 is strategy is to set ambitious goals. So after you've had your materiality ESG issues identified, you will set the goals, just like the sample I showed you. So establish clear and measurable ESG goals aligned with your company's overall strategy objectives. So these goals should address the identified material ESG issues and reflect your commitment to sustainable practices. Example of ESG goals should include reducing greenhouse gas emissions, improve diversity and inclusion, or enhancing supply chain transparency. Next, develop implementation plan. So create a detailed implementation plan that outlines specific actions and initiatives to achieve your ESG goals, assign responsibilities, set timelines, and allocate necessary resources, especially getting employees trained, or actually hiring new employees that needs to focus on sustainability issues. Ensure cross-functional collaboration to ensure the integration of sustainability principles across all business functions. Next, engaging your stakeholders through the strategy development process. Seek their input, listen to their concerns, and involve them in decision-making. Have stakeholder engagement. So stakeholder engagement fosters transparency, builds trust, and helps align your ESG strategy with their expectation, your stakeholders' expectation. Number 6, embed ESG into corporate culture. So this is where leadership plays a vital role. To drive meaningful change, it is essential to embed ESG principles into your corporate culture. Top management should demonstrate a strong commitment to sustainability and foster a culture that encourages and rewards sustainable behavior. Engage employees through training, communication, and incentives to promote ESG awareness and participation. Monitor and measure your progress. So establish a robust monitoring and measurement system to track progress towards your ESG goal. So along the way, you are going to collect a lot of data, and these data needs to be put somewhere in order for you to measure your progress over time. So you need to have a system to regularly collect and analyze relevant data, keep your KPIs, and report on your ESG performance. This enables you to identify areas for improvement, celebrate your successes, and communicate your progress to your stakeholders. Lastly, review and improve. So periodically, you need to review your ESG strategy and performance to identify areas for improvement. So since ESG is a dynamic field, new challenges and opportunities may arise over time. So that's why you need to regularly look through it and make sure it's always up to date. Stay up to date with evolving ESG standards and industry best practices, and continuously refine your strategy to stay ahead. Remember, developing an ESG strategy is an ongoing journey. So by integrating sustainability into your company's DNA and aligning your operations with ESG principles, you can drive positive impact, enhance your reputation, and build a resilient and future-ready organization. So understandably, when implementing ESG into your company, it will come with its own set of challenges. I wanted to share with you the top 3 challenges in the early stages of implementation. The first challenge is the limited awareness and understanding of ESG principles among companies and stakeholders in Malaysia. So how you can solve this is to have ESG awareness campaigns and training to educate your stakeholders about the benefits and importance of ESG. You can also collaborate with industry associations, the NGOs, and the government agencies who are promoting the ESG practices through seminars, workshops, and conferences. You can also gather success stories and best practices from other companies that have implemented ESG strategies and actually showcase the positive impact on their financial performance and also their sustainability progress. The second challenge is the lack of standardization and reporting guidelines for ESG practices in Malaysia. So to address this, you can adopt internationally recognized reporting frameworks such as the GRI, or if you want to use the Bursa guideline, if you are Bursa listed companies, or you can also use SASB, the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, to ensure consistency and comparability to other organizations. So the third challenge is the limited access to ESG data and metrics, hindering effective decision-making. So to tackle this, you can, as an organization, you can start to invest in a data collection system to gather the relevant ESG data internally and also from supply chains. So there are already readily available ESG data collection tools to use in the market. So just to recap, I think we've covered all the slides already. So let's recap on all these topics that we covered just now. The sustainability, SDG and ESG, the importance and benefits, the frameworks and the materiality of ESG, the ESG reporting itself, the standards and frameworks, how to set the ESG targets and metrics. I shared with you just now the sample of other people's ESG reports. The leadership commitment to ESG and how important it is to drive organization culture, engaging stakeholders, the strategy to implementing ESG, and also the overcoming some challenges that you might find while implementing it. As mentioned in the beginning of the session, we at Softtech 360, we provide 360-degree solutions to organizations for sustainable business transformation. So we provide analysis, solution design, digital transformation, data analytics, consultation, training, also reporting. So we want to empower you to create a sustainable workplace and business practices by bringing broader visibility and value through smart reporting. This is how we help companies from start to finish. We will help you in your pre-analysis and scope, your materiality assessment, analyzing your organization's context, the positive and negative impact, and then give you a solution and design a solution for you and provide training, as well as making data standardization, which data to use, where should you source your data, cleaning up your data, and then we help you to generate your report. And then they analyze your ESG report and also to, regularly update it. These are some of our achievements. We have the partnerships and technical capabilities to assist you. If you wish to find out more on how we can help your organization, your ESG journey, do contact us. Now, I would like to open the floor to any question. You can ask directly using your mic or write in the chat box. All right. As mentioned, I am reachable by email, also by my mobile. More than happy to connect with everybody and assist you in anything in regards to ESG or sustainability. Now it's 3:07. I think if we can wrap up this session. Thank you so much to everyone again for attending. Really hope to see you again in our future sessions as we build our company to have more trainings, and we are more than happy to have everyone again in upcoming sessions. With that, I think we can end. Okay, goodbye everybody.